back to Daily Dive. I'm your host, Renee Washington. We've had a chance to break down some of the latest news and also talk through what's going on lacrosse on an international level and taking a look back on the breaking news from yesterday that happened out of Vancouver. We've got to welcome in our guest for the day. Our guest is presented by Fanatics Link, which is in our bio that you can check out on our link tree to purchase all of your NLL merchandise through our Fanatics affiliate link. And so Jake Elliott, Vancouver Warriors play-by-play broadcaster, also the host of Lacrosse Splash, a part of the lacrosse class, and honestly doing some fantastic work in your coverage of the NLL. I have to ask, with that breaking news in Vancouver, your initial reaction, Jake?
Oh man, it's good to see you again, Renee. I feel like it's been a long, long time since we've seen each other. So good to see you. Good to be on Daily Dive, and appreciate the intro. So yeah, Vancouver. You know, I wouldn't say I was surprised because I don't think anybody could really be surprised with what has transpired over the last 4 games, and then prior to that, with this amount of success that they've had or lack of it. This is a business. This is pro sports, and it's a win now league. And if you don't do that, somebody's going to lose their job. And unfortunately, in this situation, it was Dan Richardson and Ken Thomas. And prior to that, it was Chris Gill and Caleb Toth. And prior to that, it was Doug Locker, and the list goes on, right? So it's been a long time since Vancouver has had winning teams and winning culture in this market, and they're just going to keep making moves until they find the right combination, I suppose.
Yeah, and that's something that we've had the same conversations around Vancouver for season after season after season now. And I agree. You need something that's going to make a significant change to help them be more competitive in the NLL. And so when you're looking ahead at the future, in your opinion, and I value your opinion since you've always been able to bring such great lacrosse insight. So I feel like you're the great person to ask this question, like perfect person to ask this question to. Bringing in a GM, what do you need if you're Vancouver in a GM in your front office that's going to be helping to make those big decisions to turn this franchise around and help them be more competitive?
Yeah, I don't know if one person is going to be able to do that, Renee. Like I think bringing in the right person is definitely going to help to kind of point the ship in the right direction. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the team on the turf that has to spark the turnaround, and it's the GM's responsibility to put the players on the turf. It's the coach's responsibility to make the players do what he wants when they're out there. And then it's on the players to go out there and execute the game plan to have success. So it is a multi-layered thing, but as far as finding the right guy, I think there's layers to that as well. Like you want a guy that evaluates talent very well. You
Mm.
want a guy that manages personalities very well. You want a guy that can see the future but also see the now as well, and see the big picture. You want a guy that is good in front of a camera and can talk to the media, is good with ownership and knows how to have those conversations. There, you have to have a guy that knows the rule book inside and out as far as making trades and signing players and
Mm.
how to work your roster. So there's a lot of things there, to be a successful GM. I don't possess many of those qualities, Renee. So I don't think I'm in the
Neither.
running. But I would like to see, if I get an opinion or a suggestion. I think I would like to see somebody from the West Coast step into that position. Somebody that's connected to the lacrosse market here in British Columbia, in particular, that the fans would know and have an opinion on,
Mm.
and I think that's an important thing. So I think there's a number of candidates out there. I really do. And I think also that they're going to take their time with this decision. I don't think we're going to see Vancouver name a new GM for at least a month or two, and maybe not until the off season.
Oh, interesting, interesting. And I think that's a great point you bring up about not only the fit needing to be right in terms of personality, connection to the community, understanding of, Vancouver lacrosse, understanding of just and having a great relationship with lacrosse in general, especially within the NLL, but also needing to take your time. I would take it a step further because you do need to get it right.
Yeah.
This should not be an impulsive decision. It should not be a quick fix. This is a team that's 0-4, and has had losing seasons over the past years. And so you want to take your time and find the right GM that is a good fit. So I know
Yeah.
you also talk about the players, and that is a huge part of it. Coaches coach, GMs and front office make a lot of decisions administratively, but at the end of the day, when you step on the field, it's up to the players to really put together the pieces that they can control in helping the team win. So being off to an 0-4 start, not having that win, not getting the results they want. Is there something we're missing about Vancouver? Is their record a true testament of what you're seeing from the Warriors?
Yeah, I think so, Renee. I think your record is what it is. You can take oh, we played well for 3 quarters and we let that one slip away. Well, yeah, you let it slip away. You didn't play well for 4 quarters, so it's a loss. So I'm not a big fan of trying to find positives out of losses. I think a loss is a loss, a win is a win, and at the end of the year, your record, I can't remember the football coach that said it. It is what it is. So this matchup coming in here with the next 2 weeks, frankly, Renee, is Vancouver and Vegas are going to play back-to-back weekends here in a home and home, is real important for both of these franchises. I think for Vancouver to just kind of turn the page a little bit and get a win in the win column. Vegas, I think if they can get a win or two here over the next couple of weeks, they're going to start to believe in themselves a little bit as well. So a real interesting couple of weeks coming up here between the Desert Dogs and the Warriors, no question about that. But yeah, some work to be done here in Vancouver from the roster. Like, don't get me wrong here. Like, Dan Richardson did a lot of good things during his time here in Vancouver. Drafting Adam Charlambides and Reed Bowering, and he turned the roster over quite a bit. Like, I think Logan Schuss and Justin Salt are the only two guys left from the Vancouver Stealth days. So there's been a lot
Yeah.
of turnover and not a lot of draft picks in those years there in Vancouver at the beginning for Dan, right? And you cannot win in this league without first and second round picks in your roster. You just can't do it. And
Mhm.
Vancouver did not have that luxury, and it showed. And there were some mistakes along the way too. Don't get me wrong, like playing poker with Alex Bouquet, thinking he was going to re-sign with you, and then decided to jump ship and go somewhere else. That cost Vancouver dearly because now they got two rookies in goal, and all you have to do is look at the remaining 6 teams that were in the playoffs and went to the championship last year, and you look who was in between the pipes for those 6 teams. This
Yep.
this league is about goaltending, and you can't win without it. And I'll say, like, some holes are just a little too deep to dig out of, and I think that was kind of the situation here with Dan, is he just ran out of runway, ran out of time on the rebuild, just couldn't get it done in
Mm.
a soon enough time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there are definitely changes that are going to take time, and you talk about a rebuild. Are there any initial things that you feel like the Warriors can change quicker? I won't say immediately. It's still going to take
Yeah,
time.
I
That would help.
yeah, I don't know if it would help for the here and now, but I think it would help for the future. And I just think, they've made this Troy Cordonley, I think, who will probably handle a lot of the GM duties here down the stretch, along with Dave Sheldon and a couple other guys to kind of work together to kind of get through the year here. Um, they've already made the move to go young and goal, right? And
Mhm.
I think for future's sake, why not just go full blown, full send here, Renee? Go youth movement and maybe move on from some of the veterans in this team and just let the kids play. And it may be a painful and suffering rest of the season here in Vancouver if you do that. But the dividends that will pay off for the next year and the years to come, getting those guys the experience now, going through that pain now, will help for future years. So if I'm throwing on my GM hat, I'm playing the crap out of the kids for the rest of the season.
I like it. I like it. Start building for the future of the success and taking those lumps. I mean, you're
Yeah,
taking them anyways. You're 0-4, you
exactly, right,
know?
whatever you've been doing for the past 3 or 4 years, playing vets and whatever else, has
Yeah,
not transpired into success. So,
right.
time to try something different here.
Why not? I like it. So, Jake, I know as we've been talking about in the show, the growth of the game, every year we're seeing new and exciting changes and leagues and things that are coming out, including the news that we just saw from USA Lacrosse. And you do a
Yeah,
great job of growing the game.
I just woke up here, Renee, so you tell me, what did I miss? USA is now into the Olympics? Is that what I
Yes,
Oh my
yes, that's the exciting news. It's finally getting lacrosse is finally getting the well-deserved
I
recognition.
I guess it's not just USA into the Olympics, it's lacrosse into the Olympics.
Correct.
I love it.
Yes.
Big news, yeah.
I would love to hear and give you an opportunity to share more about the work you do in the podcast world, as you're also helping to continue to grow the game and cover the game in such a needed way and having conversations just like this. So, can you
Yeah.
share with those tuned in a little bit more about your work and the podcasting that you do?
Sure, it's the same but different than this, and I kind of really like what you guys have been doing here on the Daily Dive, a daily
Oh, thank
thing.
you.
I think that's the amount of time and effort that you guys are investing into this has got to be a lot. So, kudos to you guys. Yeah, Lacrosse Classified is the name of the podcast, Lax Class for short. You can find it wherever you listen to your podcasts, just like any other podcast out there. But we've been going for the better part of 3 or 4 years now, and it's been a lot of fun. We get to talk to all the biggest names in the sport, and we do that on a weekly basis. The show comes out on every Tuesday, and you can find that on the Lacrosse Flash as well. And yeah, we chat for about an hour and a half on whatever the soup du jour is of the week, and have some fun with it. So it's myself and Tino Farah doing that. And every now and then I'll get Jamie Dowick of the Toronto Rock to sit into the co-host chair with me, and a few other people tend to drop by over time. But we crank it out every week, and we have a lot of fun with it, and a lot of people like to listen to it. So that makes me happy.
Yes, it makes me happy too to see how well you're doing with growing Lax Class and everything that you've been doing around the league. And our star guest, presented by Fanatics, Jake Elliott, perfect timing to join the show around what's going on in Vancouver and just to be able to shine a light on what you've been seeing firsthand. So thank you so much for taking time to join us, and I'd love to have you on again in the future.
Appreciate you having me. Good to see you again. Keep up the great work here on Daily Dive, and I'd be happy to join.